Welcome to Advanced Perspective. This is Quick Thoughts. We're gonna chop it up today about this YNW Portland case. Seeing he accepted a plea deal, and we're gonna get into it. Of course.
Rapper YNW Melly's alleged accomplice to murder accepted a plea deal one day before his trial was set to start. The last-minute change of plea could affect Melly's double murder retrial.
NBC6's Marissa Bag was in the courtroom when the deal was accepted. She joins us live with the story you'll see only on 6. Marissa.
Jawan and Jackie, the judge gave Cortland Henry until today to make his decision whether to accept this plea deal and avoid the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison if he'd been found guilty on those murder charges in his upcoming trial. So he took the deal, and in return, the state dropped the most serious charges against him.
And I take a plea from they may or may not apply to you.
Cortland Henry is no longer facing the possibility of the death penalty. The 26-year-old pleaded no contest to accessory after the fact and tampering with a witness tied to the 2018 killings of two longtime friends, Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams. Henry and rapper YNW Melly, whose real name is Jamel Demons, spent the last 6 years accused of the murders. In exchange for Henry's change of plea Tuesday, state prosecutors are dropping the 2 murder charges against him, and he's agreeing to a 10-year prison sentence.
Today, he did not plead guilty. He's pled no contest, right? So he hasn't really admitted anything.
Demons is awaiting a retrial for the murders after his first in 2023 ended in mistrial. Henry's trial was set to start tomorrow. Today's change of heart suggests he might testify against Demons.
And there is no anticipation that he's going to be called as a witness by the state or the defense at the Melly trial. So nothing that happened today or will happen in the future, I think, will change that.
In court, prosecutors told the judge they do plan to speak with him. His attorneys downplayed that.
Couple of questions, that's it.
So a couple of questions, he says. As for Demons, he could still face the death penalty if he were to be found guilty in his upcoming trial, which is set for 2027. And after credit for time served, Henry could end up getting out of prison in just about 5 years. We are live here in Fort Lauderdale. Marissa Bag, NBC6 News.
All right.
All right. So this is the thing, right? Hold up. This out of here. All right, so check this out, right? Now, you really think that YNW Portland was going to pass that deal up? 16 years, they break it down, right? They give you 10 inside, 6 on papers. You already been in jail for 5 years, so they'll credit you that time served. So you really only going to do 5. Over a life sentence? You really think that? You really think homie was going to just do life, and it's a better option in front of him? It's just common sense, bro. You feel me? I don't care how street you is. You're gonna take that plea. Most of them young boys gonna take that plea, man. Now let me bring you up to speed with the whole YNW Melly thing. I'm gonna just run it down real fast. Okay. Crap out of here. All right. So all right, so man that was accused. Okay, so the man that was accused of helping rapper YNW Melly carry out the double murder in Miramar back in 2018 accepted a plea deal the day before his own murder trial was set to begin. Cortland Henry faced 2 first-degree murder charges and 2 accessory after the fact charges tied to the October 2018 killings. Henry was in court Tuesday afternoon to accept a plea deal from Broward County State Attorney's Office, which pleaded no contest to accessory after the fact charges, and prosecutors dropped the murder charges. Under the deal, the judge adjudicated him guilty of the accessory charges, and he was sentenced to 10 years in prison, followed by 6 years probation with credit for time served. He had been facing life if convicted of the charges. Mr. Henry, I'm not quite sure how your lawyers managed to do this, but I wish you good luck, sir. Judge Martin S. Fiend said it, accepting the deal. Right? Henry 26 was a part of YNW Collective Rap Group, along with YNW Melly, whose real name was Jamel Demons. Together, they were accused in the deaths of fellow YNW Collective members Christopher Thomas Jr., known as YNW Juvie, and Anthony Williams, known as YNW Shack Chaser. Henry's collective name is YNW Portland. Prosecutors alleged Demons shot and killed Thomas Jr. and Williams in a car after spending the night of October 26, 2018 at a Fort Lauderdale recording studio. Police investigators say Demons and Henry then staged a drive-by shooting in Miramar near the Everglades and claimed that they were all victims. Henry's plea deal negates the need for his double murder trial, which is set to begin Wednesday. Today, he did not plead guilty. He pled no contest, so he hasn't really admitted anything. Attorney Joe Nakishmo said. Tuesday's change of heart suggests that Henry may testify against Demons. There's no anticipation that he's going to be called as a witness by the state or the defense in the Melly trial. So nothing happened today or will happen in the future that I think will change that. In court, prosecutors told the judge they do plan to speak with Henry, but his attorneys downplayed that, saying that it would be a couple of questions. That's it. In a statement, the state attorney's office said Henry will have to give a sworn statement to prosecutors that will explain his role. When state prosecutors tried Demons in 2023 for the murders, it ended with a deadlocked jury, and the judge declared a mistrial. Attorney said one juror who favored Demons refused to convict them and convinced two others to vote not guilty. As a retrial approached in 2024, the defense attorneys alleged wrongdoing by the lead detective on the case, which prompted the judge to remove the prosecutor, Christine Bradley. Assistant State Attorney Alexia Bucklew took over in 2023. Bucklew co-prosecuted 3 men who were convicted in the 2018 killing of rapper Extension. All 3 are serving life in prison. Both Demons and Henry cases came to a standstill in 2024. The judge granted a defense motion to suppress evidence, prohibiting prosecutors from using a promotional video made about Demons' life in trial. The state immediately filed an appeal, sending the issue up to the 4th District Court of Appeals. The appeal court has yet to rule on that matter, which delayed the September 2025 start of Demons' trial, which is now rescheduled till January 2027. If Demons were convicted, he could face the death penalty. All right. So basically, them boys allegedly shot their homeboys and tried to stage it as a drive-by. Not only that, but from what I read earlier, they dropped the vehicle. They drove them to the hospital, thinking that police wasn't going to do ballistics. They can tell if gunshots was fired out the car. They could tell if it was really a drive-by. You know what I mean? They could tell the distance, the gunpowder, all of that. They bring out, the works on y'all, man. They gonna put that story. They gonna put those pieces of that puzzle together, especially if you're trying to sell them a bullshit story. So, moral of the story is stop trying to spin the police. And for you trying to spin them, you better off just doing it and trying to get the hell away. If that was the case. Because now you trying to hit them with a bullshit story and they're going to pick that story apart with the evidence, with ballistics, with DNA, with gunshot residue. They're going to pick that story apart. And what they did now is they locked them all up and say, okay, we're going to keep them as long as we can and see if one of them crack. If they don't, because they face on whatever time, we're going to pick the weakest link. And we're going to offer him a deal that he can't refuse, which is what happened today. And I'm pretty sure them prosecutors was able to get some information out of him because he pled no contest. So he's basically saying that to his charges, being an accomplice is accessory after the fact, I would say, to be exact, right? You basically saying like, I'm not saying I did do it, and I'm not saying I didn't do it. So you're basically saying that you played some kind of role in that whole case. You understand what I'm saying? So who's gonna turn that down after they was sitting up in jail facing a life sentence? You got a 16-year sentence broken down, 10 in, 6 out, 5 years probation, credit for time served, 5 years credit for time served. So that's gonna knock off the 10 to 5. So you'll be out in 5 years. You know what I mean? So when you decide to go out and do this dirt, think about what you're doing before you get yourself in it. Because a life sentence in Florida means a life sentence. That means 9/9/99/999, 10,000 years. That's what a life sentence is for the rest of your life. You know? So that's pretty much all I got to say about this, man. I've been watching this case for some years now. You know what I mean? And it's like, I said, if they keeping them in there, they keeping them in there for a reason. They trying to see who they can rattle. And they're going to find the weakest link. And they're gonna offer him a deal he can't refuse. And that's exactly what happened. But, at the end of the day, man, stay out the streets, kids, man. There's a lot of other things you can do rather than get caught up in the street shit, man, because this is what it comes with. Jail or hell. Peace.